how did that connection with Hellcat Records started? I read somewhere through the Singing Gutters.
Well, they're friends of ours for a long time, and bad background. We were friends with Swing Brothers for a long time, and we did gigs together on West Coast and East Coast, and so gave them some, gave them a cassette of the stuff that the band had done, and I guess they told the guys from Miret, check this out, it's cool, cool stuff from Boston, check it out. And then, we have a new label, maybe they'll want to be on it. They put us on the compilation, give them the boot, and they said, hey, so you want a record contract? Okay, cool.
The rest is history.
Yeah, and then they just blammo, 5 records later.
Are we out of time for the interview?
Nah, man.
What about Warped Tours? Do you like the Warped Tours in general? Because I heard many bad things about Warped Tours.
Well, I think what it started off as was a good idea, because it started off as an alternative from Lollapalooza and all these big festivals, well, I think it was before Ozfest, I think, but it started as an alternative to corporate festivals, and then it sort of became that after this will be 10 years, I think it's been around. This year,
10 years.
10 years. I went to the first one, and it was small, and sick of it all played, and it was fucking great, and a lot of other smaller bands that sick of it all played. They were one of the bigger bands that played, and it was excellent. I think over the years it's become what it was against, corporate. But I think the people who run it are actually really cool, and they do for the bands. Rather, they know which bands are doing work out there and touring and stuff. Like, for instance, we did the Warped Tour a couple of years ago, and the band Sum 41 was on it, and they had just had a big hit, #1 hit, and they're huge, but they still made them play on the side stage, early in the day, because they're a new band, and there's bands like Bad Religion and these other bands who have been around for years, and they've been touring all the time, so they give those bands, the bands that deserve the spotlight, they give them the main stage. So I think,
last year on Warped Tour, you were headliners.
Well,
you and Rainsford.
Well, the thing is, every band plays a different spot every day. You can play at 12 noon, or you can play at 8 o'clock at night. It's different. It's every day. It's different, which is also good because I think a lot of times, if kids knew what time the bigger bands were playing, they would come later on, and they wouldn't be able to check out new bands. But now, in fact, the Warped Tour, the schedule is released only that day. Kids come in the morning, they see bands they would have never heard of before. They wouldn't have checked out if they even had known they were playing. Have you heard the Anti-Heroes?
Well, did I hear of the Anti-Heroes? I think I did. Here we go.
Connection.
What current bands do you like to listen to?
Bloodline from Italy, very good. Subiop from London, very good band. Jinrai from Japan. I like a lot of Japanese stuff. Jinrai. Strong Style. Tommy and the Terrorists from Boston. Rattle Battle from Boston. They're like a rock and roll rose tattoo kind of.
So how's the Boston scene like now?
It was like incredible. Maybe 8 years ago. It was amazing. You had bands like The Trouble, the Ducky Boys, Showcase Showdown, All Systems Stop, Big Bad Boss, Dropkick Murphys, Unseen. You had just a lot of bands. There were big shows every weekend. You'd have a show with just local bands and 600-700 kids there. And that's pretty impressive. Now I think a lot of those old bands broke up, and I think a lot of the kids that were going to those shows now go to more like gigs at bars and stuff like that. It's a more of an older crowd now. So and everybody's split off into their own genre. People are still going to the like spiky punk kids and Boy this and garage that, and You know, so it's maybe it's broken up a lot more, but it's still vibrant. There's still a lot of good bands around in Boston. You know, the Spits, the Tampoffs, there's shitloads of bands in Boston. There always have been, but the scene is not as crazy as it was 8 years ago.
What was your favorite band from Boston in the 80s?
Maybe Slapshot.
I knew he was going to say that.
Maybe
because
all these. I mean, those FUs, Jerry's Kids, DYS, SSD, Negative Effects, Impact Unit. I mean, I love all the old Boston hardcore, the early stuff. Fucking unbelievable.
I like Stranglehold.
Stranglehold? Yeah, Chris Doty from Gangrene was in that band. Gangrene, another fucking incredible band from that era. The Stranglehold was cool.
Even in the 80s, there were a lot of rumors about right-wing bands from Boston.
They never were right-wing bands in Boston. Well, maybe one or two, but I don't.
Because of FUs and My America.
But that was a joke. See, they were.
And now again with Dropkick Murphys. Yeah, they're all patriots.
There's the connection. There's the connection.
We love our country. We love our city. But the FUs, I think, were taking the fact that so many punks are so sensitive about everything that they're making fun of them in like.
So the PC punks.
Yeah, exactly. The politically correct types. They're like, yeah, fucking My America, you know. But they weren't right wing. I know a couple of those guys, and they're just regular guys. You know what I mean? They're into hardcore. New York, I mean, also the same with the rumors in New York. You know, like the old bands like the Cro-Mags and stuff, saying that they were right.
Agnostic Front.
Yeah.
All the rumors we heard about Agnostic Front.
Oh, we're gonna ask Roger about that. we are.
Well, they put them on over here. The reason why the rumor was big in Europe was because I think a label from France put them on a record with this band White Pride, who was from somewhere in the Midwest in the States. They were a joke band, but they never asked Agnostic Front permission for this. So there was this like a split separate from the band called White Pride. So what are people gonna think? That's bullshit. I mean, AF is.
You achieved almost everything in punk rock and music. What else can you do? Any higher goals? Dropkick Murphys.
Play with AC/DC.
Really? You all tend to play with those heavy metal gods of heavy metal.
They're rock and
Rock and roll
roll.
gods.
We're playing. One of our goals is going to be reached. We play Australia in a couple months. We're playing with Rose Tattoo.
Rose Tattoo. Wow.
We're so.
What about Motorhead?
We did a tour with them.
Really?
In the United States. It's terrible for us.
Because Motorhead, the rock stars.
No, they were nice guys, but the fans, the people that come to the gigs, they don't want to see an opening band. They want to see Motorhead, and that's it. So the opening bands are playing. And
who cares about Dropkick Murphys?
Yeah, who the fuck you? Get off. We want to see Motorhead, And I can understand that. I mean, I go to see Motorhead.